Welcome to the podcast. You're on Pollute Your Soul. It's Mike here. We're gonna be talking about some music and films. Mainly, we're gonna get in a little bit of, pop culture. I want to talk about sports for a little bit, like, because I don't know much about sports, but I do want to talk about it. So you're all gonna hear my ignorant ass opinion about sports and the Eagles real quick. But for now, I just want to kind of go into what new things we can expect from the channel. I'm just gonna be making podcasts mainly from here, and doing solo episodes, more solo episodes coming out. Manic Defiler is gonna have its second episode. I'm gonna film a couple more episodes until I film more episodes, then more will come out. It'll be kind of like a vlog skit interview show, more on the lines of like an Eric Andre show and like a sneaker, the thing in the complex where they go to sneakers. I forget what it's called. It's gonna be something like that, and it's gonna be a fun experience. But instead of doing that, we're gonna be going into like record stores or bookstores or whatever, just hanging out and shopping for like entertainment, physical media, big physical media dude. And when I have the first episode of Blake Tiger Lover Boy, kind of doing like an approach to like the sneaker shop thing, but instead it's um music, mainly music. We're going to do record stores and do that vlogs. And also we're going to try and insert some skits as well, other live interviews and whatnot. And yeah, so that's going to be the show Manic Defiler. We did one episode real quick back in I think it was May or April. But we're going to be more consistent with that as well. First topic that we're gonna talk about is Dark Angels. We do have a CD and tape release, but I just kind of want to but let's the first of the Dark Angels I'm talking about is the Dismiss Yourself version of it, because it's like the definitive version. I feel like he kind of decides what his discography is. But I would like to kind of say the production on this is crazy. From what I heard, it was recorded in a fucking in his car while he was homeless. This is by Space Ghost Perp Dark Angels. Um, there's many different kind of versions of this, but the main one has, this is the track list: Dark Angels, Bloody Mary, Leonardo, Black Bunny, and it goes all the way to like Terror Gang and all of that. Some of these aren't on other versions. Kind of depends. Some of these songs are on other tapes. Like for instance, like Money Train is on another tape of his, but like it could be, or it's a fan error or whatever it is. There's a lot of fucking bullshit when it comes to this, but mainly this is kind of the definitive version. You can go check out these tapes right now at Weather God Records, I believe is what it's called, and then there's another person, but you can just look it up and it's out there. The first song, Dark Angels, has some of the best flow ever. It's got this kind of like R&B sample, kind of similar to All the Way Live, that he produced for Rob Banks, that same thing. Um, it's such a beautiful song. The flow is immaculate. You can kind of tell he recorded it in one take, but it still kind of sounds like so beautiful and well done. Dark Angels is so good, and then when the beat switches, and I think there's like a Meshuggah sample in there, and it goes crazy when he switches that flow. And he's like, "There's Ames, the Parks." Like this kind of 8-minute masterpiece in the way that he develops it. And it's so kind of like slow and smooth, but still kind of eerie. And especially when it changes, it kind of has this kind of like Lex Luger dark trap kind of feel to it. Like, because I think that he's definitely inspired by Lex Luger in his dark trap production, but he does kind of have his own flair to it. The second half kind of reminds me of the Stoner Gang song off of Black Limb Radio 66. Um, so with Dark Angels, you go into arguably one of the best songs of his, Bloody Mary. The recording is so lo-fi and shitty, and the beat is so abstract in the drum patterns. It's like the fucking snares and shit, and that sample is nuts. Like the way it's this kind of spooky R&B, the way he flips R&B samples and makes them kind of eerie and spooky, not like kind of smooth. Sometimes he does make it smooth. It's so advanced, and I think that the drum pattern on Bloody Mary is kind of like, it's kind of like a drill type of thing done right. I think that like a lot of his beats could work with drill rappers, but honestly, I like that he kind of goes for a more punchy flow than drill rappers do. They kind of like try and ride with the beat too much, but he kind of just goes in with that shit. I think there even was a K Flock or Key Glock, whatever the fucking guy's name is, mix over the Bloody Mary beat, and it was fantastic. But Bloody Mary is kind of the smooth, fucking dark song, and just the shit that he talks about is like you can tell he recorded with the shittiest equipment, but the flow is just unmatchable in this shit. And the way the 808 goes on is fucking nuts. The synths are crazy. These dark trap synth bell melodies. Yes, we have a comment from the live saying that a good example of him doing dark R&B is his song called iPhone. Yes, I think that's the one where it's like, bitch, when I call my phone, but damn, I lost my phone. That shit is crazy. That is on Intoxicated, XXX Intoxicated. Great album by him. Many versions of that too as well. You can go find them at the Space Ghost Perp archive. You can definitely go find that right there, and it's just so well produced. I think that the main version that you see on all platforms is engineered by an Empire engineer, I believe. Very, very professionally well done. But the version with all the DJ stuff on it, I think it's the second version, I believe, is still very well done. And there is a lot of good like inserts into it and the DJ stuff. Like at the end of AI threesomes, there's like this guy at the end. He's like, "Okay, I reloaded." Like it's like I forget what movie that's from, but it's a very great project. But back to Dark Angels. Um, Black Money Hustlers is a fucking nut song, but in order for me to kind of like describe the magnum opus of his career, besides Bloody Mary, which is a great beat, I do think that Money Train is. And I'm not taking credit for this opinion. I've had this opinion, but Psycho Sounds, he did post something earlier. He said this is like top 5 Space Ghost per beats. Money Train featuring Do 2 times is fucking nuts. That beat is nuts. Like this, the way the turntable goes, the 5 and like that shit is crazy. That beat is nuts. It proves that Space Ghost Herb is arguably one of the best producers in rap. I don't think you even really compare much people to him. His beats are so abstract, and it still has that kind of smooth dark trap feel, and he uses those O-gun synths on it as well. And the way he comes in as well is like his flow is like so unmatchable. Like he's like bad bitches, love me and I'm bound to take your hoe. Like just the way he comes in, he just doesn't fucking stop. And Do 2 times gives a very memorable verse as well. I want to see more from him in the future. I hope he's making more music. Kenyatta has a great feature on there. My Thang is a fucking classic. Terror Gang is arguably one of the best underground posse cuts of all time. Um, like it, the beat is so smooth. The synths are like, dun, dun, these minor notes in it, as well as those Ogun powerful synths are just nuts. And the way the beat is constructed, and it's like it doesn't just go for like the simple fucking drum pattern. It's got these like boom, boom, like it has this more kind of bouncy parts at the end of it, but the beginning of the drum pattern is more kind of conventional, like like it's just fucking nuts. This is what he's able to do with it. Each person gives their own flair to it. Black Craze, great. Kane Groceries, whatever you fucking. Very memorable hook, and Perp goes off for like fucking 3 minutes, fucking 5 minutes, however long he goes. Probably not that long. And the music video is fantastic. Just the setting, the gas station setting. Like if it just reminds me of like friends eating like a fucking burger or a sandwich on the back of your trunk on the car. You just sit there and you eat and you fucking chop it up. You know what I'm saying? It just reminds me of that kind of setting in the song. Just like I'll always love to add that for like every playlist I've ever had. Always love to have that on there as well. Overall though, it is a fucking classic mixtape, and if it really was fucking performed, I mean, recorded in the back of his, in his car while he was homeless, I think some of the songs, I don't think every song were like obviously Terror Gang wasn't, because it's like very well mixed, like you can't like it's a well mixed Perp song. It's not no bullshit. Um, that's kind of his mixing is hit or miss. Like sometimes you'll have a song like Bankroll, like where it's like perfectly mixed, and then sometimes it just had like fucking blood, which is like too fucking good, which is so poorly mixed. It's a whole fucking dilemma. Um, we have a comment on this that says people listen to bands for like Pink Floyd, Beatles, Spangle for psychedelic, music type thing, but this album has it for me. It is very like, kind of hazy, stuff like that. It's a fucking crazy album, and there is a CD and tape pressing of it right now. Get it before you sell out. So they sell out. Definitely would recommend it. Now we're gonna be talking about the new Hunger Games movie. Now I don't really want to. You know what? I'm gonna go in spoilers. Fuck it. I mean, like, if it's been how many? It's been out for like fucking a couple weeks now, at least. November 17th. Yeah, it's been out for like 2 weeks. And you have the amount of fucking British people in this movie, yo. Anyways, anyways, How Out of Songbirds and Snakes is a great movie. I actually did really love it. It's about Snow, his journey, and he starts off as like a poor kind of capital dude, and then how eventually he's part of a really important prep school. He gets tasked with mentoring his students or his tributes of the Hunger Games. And I just want to talk about the word tribute. It kind of reminds me of like tributes, like a sacrifice for like rituals and stuff like that, like in terms of like Aztec thing like that. So I just want to say that the word tribute, in my opinion, is such a good like title for people that are playing in the Hunger Games. It's such a good like fucking like way to describe them. But with this film, it's very long. I love it. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours and a half. Fuck am I talking about? And you have Snow gives this kind of amazing performance. You can kind of get that he like has this thirst for power, has this thirst to be good, and you start to see him use this thirst at the expense of other people, and that is so well done because it's like, oh, like how did he rise to power? How did he become this smart, calculated but maniacal person that we see him in the main trilogy? I think this film really well communicates how he did that, how he became that way, and he really, um, during the first revolution, they were not rich, and his father dying did not help that at all. It did not help that at all. So with this film, I see that he was not, even though he was in the capital, he did not make a lot of money, and he wanted to help his family out. And seeing, I think that like his friend that is more um privileged, seeing his friend be so kind of the antithesis of him, because Snow wants support from the system. He wants to get in the system, help the system. He hates the rebellion. He can empathize with it, but in deep down, he kind of really hates it. Um, he is the complete antithesis of the more powerful family that he's a friend with, and that dude kind of that contrast that they have between each other is so well fucking done. I believe the character's name is, let's find the character's name real quick. Gaius Breed, I think his name is Gaius Breen, I believe. And it's such a well done movie. Um, the way that their contrast kind of like drives the story, and then his relationship eventually with Lucy Gray is so fucking cool. And they don't like kind of explicitly like, yo, this is like um Katniss Everdeen's mom. It's not, obviously, but it's like somehow, they're related or something, or she's from the same kind of cultural movement that they're from. I do like how that attitude comes from, and why that song is not like, the capital does not like the songs that she makes. And the story is very well communicated, and in the way that there's also like very good antagonists in this. Um, I do think that some of the kids in the thing were in the Hunger Games were like a little bit like immature and over the top. The redhead one specifically. Viola Davis gives a great performance. She was a bit cartoonish and over the top. I do think that it was cool, but there was not like an explanation for a character when everybody else got an explanation except for her. She was just a mad scientist. That's something I didn't like, but I do like her performance. I just think that her writing was not really that good, as well as some of the villains. But Peter Dinklage was a really good sort of villain. I think I consider him a villain in the movie, an antagonist more so. Um, it's not really like a one-sided story. I think that it kind of I do like the steampunk feel of it, but it does kind of have like a lot of different aspects to it. It's not just like good guys versus bad guys. It's kind of like this sort of ensemble journey that kind of lays down the history of like how the Hunger Games became what it was today. And one thing though, I don't think that it effectively included a person with Down syndrome in the movie. Like it's supposed to be inclusive, but you had them embarrassingly die. And if you want to communicate the tyranny of Panem, I don't think that's a way to do it. I mean, like, you know, it's kind of fucked up. Like, it's not even. I mean, like, it kind of does, but it's like it kind of is insulting to the person with Down syndrome that acted. It's almost it doesn't like they don't really play a significant part of the story. It's not really well done at all. The inclusion of her character, I don't really understand it. I don't really understand why someone would do that. Um, I'm not like an advocate necessarily for people with special needs. I don't really like know a lot about it, but I just kind of think it's like a little like fucked up. It's not even, you know, it's not even like inclusive in a good way. It's just kind of like a fucking. It's just there, and it doesn't really do anything for the story. And it's almost like they just put it in there just to say there, but it almost like insults them, and it's kind of it's horrible. Honestly, that's one of the worst parts of the movie. But overall, I did think it is worth a watch if you're a fan of the original movies. If you aren't a fan of the original movies, I still think it is kind of entertaining. And I don't think that you need to do it. But the ending was so well done. Um, the how you see his character be so angry and fucking he hates that rebellion movement. He hates anybody that goes against the power that he now has as a peacekeeper. He really, really wants to drive deep and unlock, and he did unlock his full potential to drive for power. And he's seen a lot of fucking fucked up shit through his early years. And this is kind of when he kind of gets close to the top and gets there. I don't know if there should be a sequel. I think that there should be more Hunger Games shit coming out. I think that there's more to the story. I think that there could be a sequel, there could not be. And if there isn't, whatever. But I do think that there is kind of more to the story. And this could have been a mini series, or it could have been a trilogy. Honestly, they could have done all parts and it had to be a trilogy or just a two-part movie. Who knows though? We won't know. Now, I saw the Napoleon film, and I would say that it was a good film, and we're gonna be kind of talking about the historical hate for it. I think that there's certain parts of the movie where it's like, why the fuck didn't she cover that? He's like, he writes in a letter, I have conquered Italy. Like what? Like could we have seen that? We don't really understand how he rose to power. We just understand he's a general. You know what I mean? It's not kind of effectively shown in the story how he rises to fucking power. It pisses me off. It really pisses me. It truly pisses me the fuck off. The relationship between him and Vanessa Kirby is beautiful. Their relationship kind of hones deep at the insecurities that he had. There's just so much shit that is stupid in the movie. Some of the acting is not good. I don't like that all the people have like British accents and shit. It's not really well done. Um, he is pretty angry at his critics, and I like that cocky attitude. I like directors to be cocky, kind of like how coaches are cocky. Like I love when Nick Sirianni is like, "Don't want to hear shit now, Chiefs fans." I like that shit. Somebody says 38 minutes of the movie were accurate. Come on. I understand that it's not historically accurate, but you can make a historically inaccurate movie and it's still being really fucking good. Apocalypto, Braveheart, some examples. You notice how they're all Mel Gibson movies. Whatever. This one is not really, kind of comparable to those two movies. I think that it does. I think the interpersonal dynamics of the characters are well done, but the battle sequences are not particularly well done. The story structure is not particularly well done. The battle sequence at the end is the best part, and the one in the snow, but there's other ones that are just completely glossed over. They don't talk about it too much, and there's two different of a fucking like there's two different things going on, and they kind of don't pick one thing to cover. Like, I get that the relationship was one thing to cover between him and Empress Josephine, but there is kind of like a aspect to his conquering his mother. There's got to be a relationship with his mother more so in the movie. It's not effectively communicated, and the story is not well structured, in my opinion. But I do think that if you are a fan of his Napoleon, it is a good watch. It's a fun time to watch this movie. I would say that, and Joaquin Phoenix does do a good job with this. And I did really like it, and I am a big Ridley Scott fan. I can't wait for the 4 hour cut. He says he's gonna make one, so I bet that one's gonna be way fucking better than this. I bet that's gonna be like, an 8 out of 10. Well, this would be a little more of like a 6 out of 10 for me. But overall, I did think that it was a fun time, and if you want to go to the theaters and check something out, fuck with it. If you like long movies, it is a good long movie. I like long movies. The pacing in the beginning is a bit, slow, but I'd say not in the beginning, but in the middle. But towards the end, the pacing just gets way better. Um, the sex scenes are awesome. Not like in this sexy way, but more of like they do make sense. Like, they're not just sex scenes to be sex scenes. Which is a complaint for me sometimes. Where it's like, do we really need this right now? You know what I mean? Like, I'll just go watch porn if I just want to watch sex for sex. Like, come on, what are you fucking doing here, guys? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I definitely recommend checking this out. But there is a lot of flaws to this movie, and there is better historical movies, obviously. I do wish I did live in an alternate universe where Stanley Kubrick made a Napoleon movie. Like, come on now, and nobody fucking milked that script. I mean, nobody's gonna be right. Like, it's like, only Kubrick could have done it right. I would trade half of Spielberg's career for a Napoleon movie directed by Stanley Kubrick to be out. Honestly, I'm not the biggest Spielberg fan. That's a whole nother topic. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get into it. I'm not a big Spielberg fan. I think his movies are for kids. I think that he doesn't make a lot of adult movies with a lot of adult themes. I don't think that he's like. I think that he has good cinematography, and I think that he makes good movies. But honestly, there's way better filmmakers. His movies make a lot of money, but they're not like the best movies. I think that he's. I think that like he is definitely one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. But his movies are not like they're not for me. I like more adult movies. I like movies that hit on more important topics. Um, and I think that he does have movies that do hit on important topics. Schindler's List, for example. Saving Private Ryan, for example. But there is a lot of his movies that are just not interesting to me. Hook is one of his best movies that has a lot of really good themes. I love Hook, but there's a lot of filler movies as well. The Fablemans is good, but you can only really appreciate it if you're an artist or interested in filmmaking. If you're not interested in filmmaking or being an artist in any other way, like, it's not that good for you. It's not even that. It's an okay movie even from a perspective of I love movies about making movies. So, like, you know what I mean? It's not gonna make that much money anyways. I did love it, but like, it's kind of melodramatic too, where it's like you can tell when he was writing this, he felt fucking, oh my god, or filming it, he was like, oh my god, this is so emotional for me. But you know, from an outside artist perspective, you can't really enjoy it that much. It's alright. It's an alright movie, The Fablemans. But yeah, I might make a whole video on why Spielberg is not my favorite filmmaker. Um, I would take Scorsese's worst movie over like 5 of fucking Spielberg's best movies. To be honest with you, I'm just gotta be brutally honest here. Okay. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this opinion, and I just don't give a fuck. I said, and I quote, Eagles gonna smoke y'all. Y'all, this is talking about the Eagles and the 49ers. Eagles gonna smoke y'all. Y'all lost because we fucking rooted shoulder elbow and we're proud of that. We hurt Purdy and I hope we fuck him up again. Y'all haven't been shit since the 90s, lame ass motherfuckers. Eagles gonna run last year, of course. I'm just saying, Eagles is gonna win. 49ers ain't shit. We beat best teams in the fucking league already. And we're gonna keep beating more fucking teams. Baker, I see you. I'll talk to you later after I'm done filming this. I want you to stay on. I'm finishing up this podcast because we must talk about Eagles and other shit. Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Suck my dick. San Francisco, go suck a dick. Y'all are going to get fucking blown out and y'all can suck a dick. We beat y'all last year. And you didn't lose because Brock Purdy got hurt. You lost because we hurt Brock Purdy because we're better than you and we physically dominated him into submission into being hurt. That's why y'all lost. Okay? There's no scenario where he doesn't get hurt because we hurt him. We broke his shoulder, whatever the fuck we did. You know what I mean? Suck my dick. We're gonna win again. Eagles to the top. Even if we're losing by the end of the fourth quarter, we're gonna find a way to win, just like we always have. That's all I gotta say about that. Call me ignorant. I know I am. Okay, I'm not the biggest sports fan, but I don't give a fuck. And I know that the Eagles are the best right now. And let's get it. I would like to thank Gail Lewis for her service. She is a TikTok sensation, whatever the fuck that means. Suck my dick. She did this amazing thing. Before she clocked out for last shift, she filmed herself checking out on the microphone, just fucking on the walkie-talkie. She's been like, goodbye. You know, her coworkers were her family. Now she does a better job. She is someone to be inspired by. She worked 10 years for a company, and she exited with respect. I don't really know why she's so famous, but I just know that she's awesome, and you know, she is a sensation to me. I love that somebody is just getting so much love just for fucking working hard for 10 years. You know, that kind of, I think it's more about that. It's more about that. It's not about, oh, she's funny. She did something funny. She didn't really do anything funny. Why is she so amazing is that she just worked hard for 10 years and she's getting appreciated for that. Blue collar. That's why she's getting all these views. If you really look deep down at it, people are kind of, I'm not saying it's this great epiphany. It's just like a thing where people are finally like, she worked hard for 10 years at a company. And I like that. I think we should make those people more successful. Reminds me of the old meme of one naked lady or a lady in a bikini can get 1,000,000 likes, but a picture of a veteran returning from the war can only get 100. That's what it reminds me of. I would like the bikini lady first, but I do think it's important to show love to our hardworking people, of course. But so shouts out Gail Lewis. Other than that, we're gonna end this episode here on Pollute Your Soul. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Or we're gonna stick on the live afterward. DM me if you want to go live with me, and we'll chop it up. Thank you for listening. If you have any arguments with me about what I said, if you think the Napoleon movie was a masterpiece, if you think that the Chiefs are gonna beat the Eagles, I mean the fucking 49ers are gonna beat the Eagles, DM me, argue with me, and I'll see you. Like, comment, share, subscribe to Pollute Your Soul, and stay tuned for more content. Peace out.